It's Team Solo Mid. Cloud9 moves up to second while CLG dropped to third. In fourth, it's Team Impulse, followed by Gravity in fifth and Team Liquid in sixth. Team 8 narrowly missed a spot in the playoffs, but their place in the NA LCS is safe in the summer split. Winter Fox claimed 8th place, and Team Dignitas is in 9th. Both teams are heading to the summer promotion tournament to fight to hold on to their place in the LCS. And finally, it's Team Coast. Now, from our super-sized week of action, we've pulled together a few players who had the biggest impact in their positions. Starting in the top lane, we've got Balls.
And so much of this is around the Maokai pick for him, but when he is performing on Maokai and when Meteos is able to gank for his lane, Cloud9 just straight up wins. His Kenna game also came in late in the first game they had of the week, and he's a big reason they were 3-0.
Yep, absolutely, a team player. Then in the jungle, another player from Cloud9, we have Meteos.
Meteos' ganks were on point this whole weekend. His ganks down bottom, his ganks when he was coming over the wall for those huge team fights, and his positioning, jumping onto the back line and being that threat that he needed to be, and also playing a very aggressive vibe too.
Yeah, and we got to see him back on his favorite champion, Zach.
This was so good. It's always loved.
Yep. OP in the mid lane is Winter Fox's Poe Belter.
Yeah, something about this guy. He tends to end splits on an undefeated week, but he didn't even die. He had two incredibly dominant games, Ezreal and Cho'Gath, champions he hadn't really played that much in the LCS, pulling into his deep champion pool, getting counter picks, and hopefully a strategy for the future in the promotion tournament.
And this one might surprise you, but our 80 carry is going to go to Cloud9's Sneaky.
Wait, big surprise.
Yeah, Sneaky had a phenomenal week, had amazing performances, and they could make team comps around him, and he could single-handedly carry the game. Huge performance from him this week to get them to that second spot.
Definitely added a few plays to his highlight reel this week. And the king of supports this week is Gravity's Bunny Fufu.
He was so good on Thresh, and he's the reason these guys clinched the playoff spot, honestly. His game, that one performance, even if he had a poor Morgana game, is enough to make him on this list above all the other supports this week.
Yeah, when you hit every hook and single-handedly pull your team into the playoffs.
The only way your team can find fights, and then they just find fights at will.
Yeah, 100%, but there's only room for one on top of the podium, and that player is going to be Sneaky. Throughout the split, he has been a rock for C9. He came up big this weekend to help his team take down the top two teams once again and finish the split in second place.
And looking at the two games he played today in particular, this Lucian game, he was juking everything. Nobody could hit him. That was the tank-focused team fight, and he was always staying safe while doing maximum damage. 2 Lucian games and a Draven game. The Draven game was super impressive as well, even if it was a lot more brief than the Lucian games. Just an unreal performance by Sneaky.
And just style points all around. Now let's take a look ahead to our playoffs. We're going to pull up the bracket to see how things stand. In our first quarterfinal, CounterLogic Gaming will take on Team Liquid in a best-of-5. I bet you Piglet's pretty happy about that. The winner of that matchup will advance to face off against our second seed, Cloud9. Then Team Impulse grabbed the 4th seed and will meet Gravity in the quarterfinals. The winner will advance to the semifinals and battle our defending champions, Team Solo Mid. That's just about going to do it for us here. I mean, but
those matchups are incredible, right? Like the CLG Team Liquid matchup has got to be really scary for CLG fans. Flashbacks to the summer split of last year, honestly. Curse versus CLG. All that hype coming in, a late season surge. Not exactly the same storyline, but it's still X Special, right? It's still Dominate, it's still Quas, 3 of those guys that were there last year. Suddenly that's a danger for CLG.
Yeah, and Piglet's always wanted the opportunity to play against Doublelift, and right now Team Liquid went 2-0 this season against them, but they had Keith both of those games. So he hasn't gotten that opportunity, and he's going to get it in playoffs, and he's going to want to prove himself, and that's the drive. Back when Piglet was a star on SKT, it's because he didn't get into CJ. And now he's got that drive to take down Doublelift. We'll see if that gets him through this week and motivates him.
And then we take a look just on that bottom side of the bracket, Team Impulse versus Gravity. This is where that idea of Team Impulse playing to the level of their opponents and maybe getting a little cocky when they go into games like this. They're just barely the higher seed here, 4 over 5, but there is a danger that they slip into that mindset of we've got this no problem and maybe focus too much on the Team Solo Mid game that would come following.
Potentially. The nice thing about this is since they're just playing the quarterfinals that week, and then it's a whole nother week until their next matchup, I don't see them falling into that trap that maybe a team could have done last year when the quarterfinals were on the same weekend as the semifinals. Rush is on fire.
Yeah. Also, the fact that it's best of fives, too. We have to remember that we're moving to best of fives. And so I imagine if they were to lose the first game, they maybe would maybe take everything a little bit more seriously. But that's also going to be a whole nother interesting factor that we'll get into when that week comes. But best of fives, these teams will be practicing hard for that. I'm fairly certain.
Yeah. And I'm really looking forward to that match, too, because right now, TIP 2-0 over it. Rush, you talked about his overconfidence. He's like, we're going to 3-0.
Yeah.
Well, put his money where his mouth
he
is.
did say 3-0. I love the fact that team plays with so much confidence. There's a few things that I want to look at for Team Impulse right here. Like the fact that Xiao hasn't shown much success on champions that aren't Karthus.
Yeah.
Luden's Echo Corki, well, I did say I want to see it in the playoffs. Will be interesting if we see it in the playoffs.
You wanted to see first item Luden's Echo Corki.
Yeah, or at least build some more AP to support the item.
He got a hunting guys.
Yeah, he did buy he actually
Leandry's.
upgraded all the way to Leandry's. But anyway, that's going to do it for us here. We'll be back with the first week of our LCS Spring Playoff coverage starting on Wednesday with an all-new primetime league at its new 4 p.m. time slot. So make sure to mark that down on your calendars. Then on Saturday, the European and North American playoffs get underway, starting in the European LCS with our first best of 5 quarterfinal. 3rd seed H2K Gaming versus the 6th seed Copenhagen Wolves. After that, we'll bring it back here to Los Angeles for our first quarterfinal CLG versus Team Liquid. You can catch the start of our coverage at 8 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 5 p.m. Central European Summer Time. Now, for myself, the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you. Good night.